Hey guys, this is Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and my name is Steve, and this is
James.
And we are here for your Week 7 Start and Sits video to help you guys out with another win this week. Before we begin the video, again, make sure while you're here, hit that like button. Also, if you have not yet, make sure you hit the subscribe. Yep, that red subscribe button. Make sure you click that for us to get any new videos that we drop. Of course, hit that notification so that way you get notified as soon as a video is dropped to help you guys win in your fantasy football league, all right? Now, before we start, bye weeks. Make sure you are aware. Baltimore Ravens, Indianapolis Colts, Miami Dolphins, and the Minnesota Vikings are on a bye week this week, so make sure you're prepared and that you are ready to fill those positions. Obviously, hopefully no COVID situations going on. Let's make sure that happens.
The guys, the waiver wire came out
Yep.
Tuesday. Let's check that out for the replacements for this week.
Yeah, a lot of good pickups. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff that I think there's some good fillers for your flex or maybe wide receiver 2, running back 2. It's a lot of good stuff. So again, like James said, waiver wire video dropped. If you haven't checked it out, again, make sure you do. So that way you guys are prepared. Now let's go into our stud and dud of the week. So first we're going to start off with the stud. So Derrick Henry, the king. That man, he's just a grown man. Just a grown man amongst all these boys out there. I mean, it's ridiculous what this guy's done. Put up 212 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. I just feel bad for anybody who had to tackle him. I really do. And Derrick Henry, hats off to you. Another great game. You are definitely the best running back right now in the league. James is going to go over our dud of the week.
Dud of the week is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, don't know what happened to him. I know he was going up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is one of the best defenses right now versus the quarterback, but his name is Aaron.
Hey, Aaron, where were you at?
I don't know where he was at because he got us negative 1.27 points in our league. I'm sure in your league was either negative or like 1 or 2 points, but I know 160 yards, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. Definitely going to have a better game this week versus Houston. So, like he was saying in the beginning of the video, we don't talk about everyday starts, but we do talk about these duds in our videos. Now we're going to go into the starts for the week in quarterbacks. We're going to go with Matt Stafford versus Atlanta. Atlanta is one of the worst. I mean, we talk about Atlanta every single week when we talk about quarterbacks. They're one of the worst in the past, allowed 3 touchdowns in 4 of the last 6 games. Yeah, play Matt Stafford, put him in for, in your bye week this week if you got to replace Lamar Jackson. Then we go with Teddy Bridgewater. I'm sure he's on the waiver wire also. Pick him up if you got him. He's going to have a great game versus New Orleans. I feel it. We feel it. He's had great games, and last week was not great.
Yeah, but, we had him as a sit, and he did exactly that. He sat there.
Yeah. Has given up. New Orleans given up the second most points to QBs. Against poor defenses, he's averaged over 22 points a game. So he's a great pick if you got to replace somebody right now. I know our league, somebody just dropped Cam Newton. I probably wouldn't have dropped him, but a good pickup for that would be Teddy Bridgewater this week for sure. Then Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan killed it last week. Finally, this is the second week of the year that he's done decent. But he's got Julio back. I know something just popped up today about Julio's injury, but I'm sure that's because he doesn't like practicing. But he's going against Detroit. Detroit's 11 most points to quarterbacks. And, I mean, the way Julio and Matt Ryan play together, if they're week 1, he had over 30 points, Matt Ryan did, and he had Julio. Last week, he had over 30 points, and he had Julio. Julio should be playing. So
I think there's a connection there. Something.
Yeah, there sure is. Then sits. Jared Goff versus the Bears. I would be scared almost any defense or any quarterback right now versus that defense. Bears only allowed 11 points to Teddy Bridgewater last week, like we just mentioned. They gave up the second fewest points to quarterbacks this year. So, like I said. Drew Brees versus Carolina. Carolina's giving up the fourth fewest to quarterbacks. Carolina's defense is hitting it. They're doing very well. Then we're going to go to Derek Carr. Derek Carr versus Tampa. That is, you've seen what happened to Aaron Rodgers. We talked about in Dead of the Week. I would be very hesitant to play Derek Carr versus that same defense. But Tampa Bay is fifth best against the pass. They've allowed Aaron Rodgers, like we said, -1 point. So I just sit Derek Carr, look at our waiver wire video, see who to pick up. The three guys that we mentioned up there, Matt Stafford, Teddy Bridgewater, Matt Ryan. On a lot of leagues, they're sitting there in waiver wire. Hopefully, they're sitting there right now, so you to pick up. But that's the sits and the starts for QBs. Now we're gonna go over to wide receivers with Steve.
All right, guys. So I have jumped on the Chase Claypool bandwagon. Dude, I hope there's enough space because this kid has been amazing for Pittsburgh. Pretty much, Juju's gone. I mean, at this point, Juju's struggling. It's just Chase Claypool is the guy right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's going against Tennessee. Tennessee's actually, they haven't given up a lot of points to receivers, but being that Claypool has been really the big target right now for Big Ben, I expect him to still continue to see some big, plays. He's averaging some amazing receptions beyond the 20-yard line. He's just done a really great job. He's either scoring or he's getting big plays. So Chase Claypool is a great start this week. Next guy I want to talk about is T. Higgins for the Cincinnati Bengals. So he's going against Cleveland. Cleveland's given up the second most points to the receiver position. And on top of that, T. Higgins, out of his 5 games, 4 of them have been above double digits. So he's a steady receiver. He might have some big games. He might have a game of 11, 12 points. That's a good flex player. Maybe a wide receiver too. So again, make sure if he's out there in the available, he's available a lot of leagues. Again, on our waiver video, make sure you pick him up. He's a great start this week. Next guy I want to talk about is Terry McLaurin. He's going against Dallas. I don't even know if I need to say anything more. Like, at this point, we all know who's going to have a good game. If you're a receiver, you are chomping at the bits to go against Dallas right now. And Dallas is so dysfunctional on the defensive side. So Terry McLaurin's an absolute must. He's getting about 10 targets a game anyways, whether it's Kyle Allen back there, whether it's Alex Smith. Obviously, Haskins is gone, but McLaurin's a great start this week for sure. So our sit, Julian Edelman. I expected him to have a good game last week, and unfortunately we didn't hit that one, and really kind of started with Cam Newton. He just didn't have a great game. Right now, Edelman's kind of in the doghouse. He is more of a receiver that, unless I see it happening, I just don't kind of trust him right now. Plus, San Francisco is actually pretty good. They've given up 7th fewest points against wide receivers, so there's going to be, again, some struggle, and Cam and him are just not on the same page. He got targeted a lot. He just didn't, make anything of it, so just don't trust him. Next guy is Jerry Jeudy. This actually been asked quite a bit if he's someone who you should start. He's shown promise at the beginning of the season, but problem is he's starting to lose some of that target share to Tim Patrick, who we have on our waiver wire pickup. Kansas City's given up 6 fewest points right now to the receiver position. And on top of that, Jerry Jeudy's going down this way, and Tim Patrick is moving upwards. So Jerry Jeudy is not somebody I would absolutely start at all. The last guy I want to talk about is Robert Woods against the Chicago Bears. So Robert Woods had a decent game last week, but he hasn't had 100 yards since week 1. He's struggling to get anything beyond that point. He is getting some targets. Some games he has 4 or 5. Some games he has 8 to 10. But Chicago's given up the second fewest points to receivers, and that scares me as a Robert Woods starter. So I would not put him out there at all. Make sure you sit him this week. Grab somebody else. Again, ask us questions on Twitter or Instagram if you need to. We'll be there for you. Now we're going to go to our running back start and sits.
All right. So a couple things I want to go over about the wide receiver spots. Now, we had a lot of questions about Fuller. Fuller, he's going to be an everyday start for us going forward. He's been double digits in fantasy points in PPR leagues. But I wouldn't bench him right now. We get quite a bit of questions about Fuller, so keep Fuller in there. If you have a a desperate need for a wide receiver spot, look at the waiver video. But Fuller, 100%, keep him in there for the rest of the year, unless otherwise. Running backs starts. We're gonna go with Rojo. Rojo's been killing it with Fournette on the injury list right now. So he's going against Las Vegas. Las Vegas giving up the most points to running backs, and Rojo has 26 points last week with 2 touchdowns. So I know we were joking around with that backfield the beginning of the season because they were trying to play hot hand, and it was hard to trust Rojo or Fournette. But right now with Rojo leading that backfield. With Fournette on the bench, that's definitely who you should just keep him there. He's probably going to be a everyday start from now on until they try to play hot hand again with Fournette. Hopefully they don't, because Rojo's killing it. Then we're going to go with David Johnson. David Johnson is going against Green Bay. Green Bay's defense did not so hot against Rojo last week. He had a monster. Rojo, we just talked about it, had a monster game, 2 touchdowns. I would see David Johnson doing decent. He's not doing great, rushing the ball. Not getting a lot of yards every week. But he's consistent. He consistently has double-digit points. Probably not the guy who's going to give you 30, 40 points, out of nowhere. But he's going to get you 15 to 20 points hopefully this week. Then we're going to go with Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley versus Detroit. Detroit's giving up the 4th most points to running backs, and had the 2nd highest in carries.
He had 20 carries last week, which was again his 2nd highest. They're starting to really feed him the ball, and I think with Raheem Morris as the head coach, I think that's helping out with the Falcons. Kind of again run the ball, play action pass. That's definitely Todd Gurley is a great pickup right now.
Yeah, I like them running the ball a little bit more. It frees up Julio, frees up those wide receivers, and gives Matt Ryan a better chance to pass the ball. But they're having a better rushing game. So Todd Gurley's been doing great. Sorry for this guy trading him.
I didn't need him. Don't feel sorry. I didn't need him.
Then we're going to go to sits. We're going to go with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon versus Cleveland. He has that foot injury. But Cleveland's giving up the 7th fewest yards to backs. 73 yards a game. And then with that foot injury, I think we had, what's his name? Backup.
Yeah, Bernard.
Bernard. He had the goal line touches, a bunch of goal line touches.
Yeah.
So Joe Mixon, I would sit him this week. Phillip Lindsay versus Kansas City. If Melvin Gordon is not suspended, he's going to be the 3rd down back. Kansas City is only has allowed the most rushing yards, but 14th fewest in fantasy points. Then Devin Singletary versus the Jets. First meeting only had 30 yards, which is crazy. He struggled last week, and then Moss is back. Yeah. Singletary last 2 games were horrible. We don't see him doing any better this week.
No, and Zach Moss kind of taking those goal lines. I mean, that's what happened the first week. Last week came back. Singletary's, unless he's playing behind in PPR, he's not really a great starter or even a flex player right now. So I would definitely consider him as a sit for sure. So we're going to go over the tight end start and sits this week. So as far as tight ends go, this first start I have is TJ Hawkinson. We had him last week. He had about 10 points. He had a touchdown, which helped save his day. I do expect him to still have another good week this week. He's going against Atlanta. Atlanta's given up the 2nd most points to the tight end position. He had 5 targets last week. And again, he had a touchdown, and that's about his average. He's getting about 5 to 6 targets a game. He turns them into about 3 or 4 catches. He's a good 9 to 12 point, solid, consistent player with the upside of a touchdown or 2 to help him out. So, good start for this week against Atlanta. Next guy is Hunter Henry. They're back from the bye week. Hunter Henry against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's given up the 9th most points to the tight end. Hunter Henry averages double-digit points every single week. He may not wow you, but he is that consistent tight end that you want to leave in your lineup. No reason to ever sit him at all. Then we got Gerald Everett for the Rams. The reason I have him over Tyler Higbee is Higbee's kind of losing some of that production to Everett. Everett's actually been more of the bigger playmaker. And Chicago, as great of a defensive they are, they're actually giving up the 10th most points to tight ends. So I would absolutely start him. And he's averaging about 4 targets a game. So start Everett for sure. Then we got our sits. So Darren Fells is the first sit for this week against Green Bay. Green Bay's given up the fewest points to the tight end position. And on top of that, he's only averaging about 3 targets a game. So I just don't trust Fells. I know he's up and down, but he's either a big play guy, mostly a dud. So just sit him. Next guy I have is Jimmy Graham. I think it's amazing how many people actually like to start him. He is not a consistent player at all at this point. Rams have actually given up about mid-range, about 15th fewest to the tight end position. He's only hit double digits twice this season. He's not very consistent, especially with that offensive side. Nick Foles has struggled. It's just not a good offense. Great defense for Chicago, not a good offense. So I would not start Jimmy Graham this week. Last tight end I want to talk about is Evan Ingram. Bro, I thought you were going to do well. You just continue to just disappoint. As a Cowboys fan, I love it. But as a fantasy owner of anybody who ever had Evan Ingram in the past, I don't understand. He's got so much talent. He has not had more than 35 yards in 4 out of his 6 games. He's just struggling. And Philly actually did a great job. Actually shut down Mark Andrews last week, only allowing 4 points to him. So Philly's actually a pretty good defense when it comes to the tight end position. So I just don't trust Evan Ingram for the Thursday night game. Absolutely sit him. So we want to thank you guys for watching our Week 7 Start Sits video. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you hit things down below in the comments. Have some good start sits that we didn't mention that maybe you should, obviously mention to all the fantasy football community in our comments. If you've not had already, hit that subscribe button. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get more content like this to help you guys out win your fantasy football. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Again, we'll have our handles down in our description below. Ask questions. We're getting about 50 or so questions a week, if not more. Honestly, we're probably getting about 10 to 15 a day. We answer as quickly as possible to help you guys make sure your lineup is correct. Asking for waiver questions. We're getting that a lot lately. And, of course, trade questions. So, again, if you have not, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram so that you guys can ask us in the moment to get the information for you guys.
Yep. Again. One thing I wanted to go over, we've been getting feedback starting defenses.
Yep.
We're going to be starting that next week. We'll be doing defenses also.
Yep.
We'll probably do top 5 defenses for you guys. Any other suggestions that you want from us, please let us know. Comment below on YouTube.
Yep.
Let us know on Twitter, Instagram, email. Just let us know anything we can do to help you guys, because that's what we're here for. But thank you guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you.
Have a good one.